Hello. And I get the glare off my glasses, and neither one of us will have to look at it. For those of you who are already familiar with the year with no summer, skip to about the middle of this video, and then you can just hear the rest of it if you're remotely interested. I'm talking a little bit quiet tonight, so you may have to turn up your volume. I didn't expect to have access to the living room, but my husband and my son are both busy, so it's all mine. So here we go again and again. At any rate, a year with no summer. It was 1816, if I'm not mistaken, and there had been significant volcanic activity in 1815, if I'm not mistaken. You can Google it, and there's all kinds of information, lots and lots of information. Just Google year with no summer. And after this volcanic, I'm not a scientist, so bear with me. After this volcanic activity, apparently the ash from the volcano had reached high enough level in the atmosphere that it was blocking out enough of the sun that it caused there to be very cool and cold weather all through the summer months. Not just in the United States, but in other places around the world that same year. There were severe weather conditions, and so every time that people would plant and the plants would start to grow and develop, then a hard frost or a freeze and snow would come along and kill everything. And so a lot of people went hungry. In fact, and I found out quite by accident that I've never heard it in the history of our church before, but I found out by reading on the computer that that was a reason that Joseph Smith's family moved from the Vermont area to New York State, where the church was eventually organized, in Palmyra, New York, where they lived. And a lot of people were suffering from the crop failures, and they had had several bad years in a row, and so they relocated. At any rate, what does it have to do with us? I guess maybe a lot, maybe not. I don't know. But there was a lot of volcanic activity, which can't even tell you of which volcano blew, but I know in 1990 there was some significant activity because in 1990, no, that's not true. That's not true. In 1991, there was significant volcanic activity because I delivered my son in August of 1991, and then we moved to the current town where we live now in 1992. And I remember that summer, he wasn't quite a year old yet, and I put a sweater and a blanket. He had little, onesie type outfits, and then I put a sweater on top of that almost every day in the summertime, and I put a blanket over his legs when I took him out in the stroller almost every day in the summertime, and sometimes a little hat. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool that summer. It never really warmed up, and not this last summer we just had, let's see, what year is this? Not 2010, but 2009, it was quite cool throughout the summer. But there was quite a little bit of volcanic activity, and like I said, I'm no scientist, but in Europe and a couple of other places. I don't know if it was South America. You guys probably know better than I do, but there was more than one volcano. And you remember how the air traffic got all snarled up in Europe. And I can't remember the name of the mountain, but I know people were stranded in Europe for quite a while. Did it stop working? I think my computer had a little glitch. Anyway, so we know that the possibility exists that we could have a repeat of the weather conditions that they had in 1816. And I'm not a doomsday kind of person. I'm not a fatalist. I have a pretty good outlook on things most of the time, I think. So I don't think it's any cause for alarm. It's just something to be aware of. Of course, if you had your things planted in your own yard, you'd have a little more control over the effects of the cold. You could cover them with sheets or blankets, or spray them down during the night, or put little fire pots throughout your garden, or there's lots of things you could do. And you can turn this video off right now if you want to. I had one more thing I wanted to say about the foods that I was showing earlier in a very recent video a couple hours ago. Oh my gosh, I hope you're not so sick of this. You're not totally sick of this. This was, again, You can see this. This is marketed by Kroger, their house brand. And just because it has Kroger's name on it doesn't mean if you don't have a Kroger store, you might not be able to get this same thing. They're often made in the same factories with different labels for different stores. My friend told me about a pasta factory that makes pasta for everybody's label, practically. Long story behind that. But anyways, what I noticed was this seemed to make a really, this was 99 cents. This seemed to make a really large batch. It's a casserole type mix. You're supposed to put hamburger in it, but I put ham in it. And you're supposed to do all these elaborate instructions. My husband was reading it to me because my glasses weren't good enough. And you're supposed to do all these crazy things. I said, I'm not doing that. So I just put the ingredients in and mixed it all up and threw that, where did it go? Oh, I didn't bring it in here. Threw that can of ham, $1 can of ham in with it. But what I wanted to say was this is 8.4 ounces of product, and the name brand is not exactly the same thing. This has shredded potatoes in it. But the name brand with, this is stroganoff too, so it's not quite the same thing, but it only has 5 ounces for the net weight as opposed to 8.4 ounces. This really made a healthy size portion. So we made up our corn muffin with, it's the last one, I'm going to have this in a while, corn muffins with sugar and vanilla in it, and opened a can of corn, and it was really good. So the only reason I bring this up again, and I will say it one more time and then I'll quit, is that for this $1 that I spent for this, and the $1 I spent for the ham, and the 50 cents I spent for the can of corn, and the 47 cents I spent for the muffin mix, we had a really nice, decent, palatable, enjoyable meal. And it's just, there's a lot of more expensive things that you could store that wouldn't make as nice a meal, or like I said, you can pay $30 a can for a freeze-dried entree. This is my preference. I'd rather have $30 worth of this. So I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but it was good, and it made a big size portion. I did want to add in another topic, but I'm going to put that in a different video. So have a fantastic day or night. Bye.